Welcome to Local Edition. I'm Bella Shaw. They say the average person will have several different careers in their lifetime, and Rick Cole is no exception. He joins us on Local Edition, and should I say former city manager for the city of Ventura?
Yes, and I don't think I'm the average person because I've had a lot of blessings in my life, and one of them has been to serve the people of Ventura for 8.5 years.
And it was bittersweet, I'm sure, being the former city manager, but...
Every single day it seems more like a blessing, Bella.
Really?
Yes. I love public service, and I spent 30 years in public service. But there's a real world out there too.
Really?
Yes, there is. And I've had a chance to be in the private business world, in the nonprofit world, and now I'm going to be in the faith world.
That's right. Tell us about your new administrative role with the mission.
Most Catholic churches don't have professional administrators, and so it's a new role in our church, but we have a huge church. It's one of the 21 California missions. We have 2,000 parishioners, and I'm going to be working with and for our pastor to make the Buenaventura Mission a much more dynamic force in the lives of our parishioners, but also in the community. And so I feel like my public service is going to continue, but in a different way.
Right, and you know, even though it's a parish, you still have to keep the lights on.
Yes.
You need to fundraise.
Yes.
You know, in many ways there are similarities
Absolutely.
in what you did. And what are those similarities?
Well, we face really tough economic times. Everyone, you and I know people who have been out of work for a long time and who really have lost hope even of going back into the workforce if they're of a certain age. And young people who haven't yet found that first, career job that they spent all this time and their parents' money and the debts that they're going to have to pay to be ready. And so in these tough economic times, we have to be very different and much more creative and entrepreneurial about creating value. And the difference between city government is, while we certainly have tremendous volunteerism, it's primarily a professional organization, 575 people, down 100 from where we started at the beginning of the recession, but still police officers, engineers, planners, etc. In a church, 9 staff members, and almost all the work is being done by volunteers. And I think the public sector can learn from that, from the nonprofit sector and from churches and synagogues. People care about their communities, and if we're going to have high-quality communities, they're going to have to give more in the way of volunteerism because we're just not going to be able to afford the level of services that we were used to during the economic boom. And the reason we're not going to afford it is threefold. Number one, the economic boom was largely artificial. We were borrowing money that we didn't have.
Absolutely.
Number two, we have to pay back a lot of that money. And number three, we're in a much more brutal global economic economy that isn't going to create the kind of resources that I grew up with as a kid. So we're going to have to work that much harder and that much smarter in our communities. We still need great schools, we still need great libraries, we still need wonderful parks. That need hasn't gone away. Figuring out how to deliver those services is going to be the challenge that my successor gets to tackle.
Well, Rick, I think what you're saying is that everybody wants to go back to the good old days, but the money isn't there from the good old days.
No, it's not. But that doesn't mean that we have a dark and uncertain future. It means we have to, as Americans have always done in times of crisis, think anew. In a much deeper crisis, the beginning of the Civil War, that was Abraham Lincoln's message. Of course, there's a new movie out about Abraham Lincoln from Steven Spielberg. So maybe we should listen to our history. And he said, timing. As our case is new, so must we think anew. And I think that's the message we have to take in public service
Rick Cole,
today.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Local Edition, and we thank you as well. I'm Bella Shaw.